Hello everybody, what's up? It is Rogue Goddess. Today we're going to be doing a psychological analysis on the Trapper. First things first, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit notification to, get more content from me. I'm going to be doing one of these videos every Friday until all of the killers are complete, and then until all of the survivors are complete. I'm also on the YouTube channel right now, standing by, ready to answer any questions that there may be for you. Right now, I'm going to be posting in the forum, basically letting people know that, I have a video going on, so give me a second to do that. Alright, so, to begin, I'm going to be going over basically a little bit of the Trapper's backstory. Also, if you guys want specs on the Trapper, if you guys want to know how to play him, everything like that, there are other YouTube videos out there, so that's what I would recommend. Just, go and enjoy those videos. So, right now, we're going to be going over basically what made, Mr. McMillan into what he is. So it said on his page that his father was a very stern man, and whenever his mind started to go, he started giving Evan all of these really sick and twisted demands, which by the time Evan was older, he was already doing everything that his father said, simply because of how strong-willed his father was. And it's said that his father eventually wound up, in a basement, in his own basement, starving to death, and abandoned. Now that part doesn't really make sense to me. There's a lot of stipulation that his father taught him that only the strong survive and that the weak should be left behind or killed. But that still doesn't make sense to me, because, Evan clearly would be able to tell that his father's mind was going. He would clearly be able to say, well, my father has Alzheimer's or dementia. And at that point, why wouldn't it be clear that he was already, gone? That he was, of weak mind. And it's said in the official Dead by Daylight, basically that Evan lured, hundreds of people to his mines and exploded them and basically crushed them, left them in there to die. So, I think that Evan was doing this of his own accord, because Evan would have been able to make the connection that his father was gone, that his father was a weakling and that he didn't need him anymore, unless he was doing what his father said because he had this lust for blood. Also, I have a bit of a theory on this. I basically think that Evan was a survivor. It says that, he was luring these people in and he was killing them, but if you look, he's got hooks in his shoulder and everything. Oh, I have a comment. Oh, well, thank you. But basically, I think he was a survivor. He was either a survivor or he's a masochist. A major masochist. There is no way that he wouldn't be. Because if you look all over him, he has scrapes and cuts, and these aren't regular scrapes and cuts from like, just trapping things. These are scrapes and cuts from like weapons. Because that's not, the strikes across his chest aren't the same kind of strikes that there would be if you were constantly getting hit with a bear trap. Like on his arm, you can see puncture wounds from where he's been getting hit with, his weapon of choice, or rather, his special attack. And then right up here you see in his shoulder that hook. And that's why I have this feeling that Evan used to be a survivor, but he lost hope. I feel like the entity was giving him a second chance, and basically he was like, there's no way I'm gonna get out of this alive. Another thing that I think is, up with Evan is I think that he has basically these feelings of self-doubt. For one, he followed his father forever. I mean, he did whatever he said, even on into his sickness. When he was, blatantly raised, you will abandon the weak, you will kill them, they're done, they're dead. But I feel like he has just these feelings of self-doubt because, for one, he always wears a mask. He never takes it off. And also, I think that a lot of these wounds that he has are self-inflicted. Because, I mean, whenever he has the trap, it's on his arm. He isn't just carrying it, it is bear trapped to his arm. And that's why you see all of those punctures. I mean, he even has an animation where he steps in his own traps. No other killer has that, except for Evan. So I clearly think that, like, he blames himself for his father's death. I think that he blames himself for his father getting sick. And I feel like either he is a masochist or that he's punishing himself for what has happened to his father. And for, all of the things that have transpired in his life. All things considered, I would say that Evan quite possibly wound up killing himself, if he wasn't a survivor beforehand. Then I would say that he did, wind up killing himself whenever he was doing all of these, murders and everything. Because, I think that he saw that this man that he had put up on a pedestal his entire life, I think he saw that this man was dilapidated. I think he saw that this man was overrun, and I think that he just didn't have the will to continue going on with his life after his father died. And I think that the entity basically gave him a second chance. But I also think that he's suffering from depression, simply because his father meant so much to him, and he may be just killing now, either out of a deal that he made with the entity to get his father back, or simply because he grew to enjoy it so much. I mean, like I said, on the official Dead by Daylight wiki page, he had to lure hundreds of people into those mines and blow them up. I mean, there's just no other way. Thank you. But I don't think that there's any other way for it to be explained other than maybe with the entity being so powerful and Evan, being so much more of a follower than a leader. It might be that he just simply saw the entity as this powerful thing that his father could never be, and decided that it was worth his time to do whatever the entity said. Clearly he gets pleasure out of doing what he does. Otherwise, you know, like I said, he wouldn't have lured all those people down into the mines and blown them up. Because that's just, you know, 100% something that he would be able to recognize as, this is bad and I shouldn't do it. Especially whenever you know, his father had preached for so long that his motto should be, only the strong survive. Other than that, I think that that's all of the theories that I have behind the Trapper right now. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to go ahead and answer, or rather ask them, and I will do my best to answer them. So I'll give, you know, a little bit of time. I have to say, I really like this video a lot more than I did the entity video, because with the entity video, I had so much planned that I was going to say, but there was just so much little, there was so much to say, but so little to say too. Ashley Jackson said, well, perhaps he is also insecure about himself. Most definitely he's insecure about himself. I mean, he's following other people. Like, he's not, you know, he's not questioning what they're saying himself. He's hiding his face, which means that he doesn't want to be seen, and he either has issues with how it looks, or he doesn't feel what he's doing is right, but he's doing it anyway. He's also causing himself wounds. I mean, clearly most of those wounds, to me at least, are self-inflicted. I mean, he stabbed himself repeatedly with metal hooks, like something off of Strangeland. And that's just, you know, it's clearly, he's got some self-esteem issues going on there. And I think that it stems from his father basically being like, no, you're going to do it my way, and this is how things are done. And I think it may also stem from him killing people. Like, if any of you know about Michael, whoops, I keep doing that. If any of you know about Michael from the Halloween series, you know that whenever Michael puts on the mask, he thinks he's someone else. He thinks that he is the Shape. And as soon as his mask comes off, you know, he's this scared little kid. But you know, clearly that's not how Evan's mind works. I think that he's either doing that because he's ashamed that he has done it, or that he's ashamed about how good it makes him feel to kill. Do you have any other questions? Yeah, I know. Popo Monk explains the Shape so well. But one of the things that she said was that basically whenever he has the mask on, he's the Shape. And then whenever he takes the mask off, you know, he's Michael. He doesn't understand that there isn't a differentiation. It's basically like he's constantly acting, constantly something more than himself. But right now this video is on the Trapper and not the Shape, and I probably won't do a video on the Shape simply because there are already books upon books upon books on the shape, because Halloween is a very popular series. And, by the way, for those of you who are watching this video at a later date but don't know, Chuckles was the original name that they were going to use for Evan, which I think would have given him a completely different backstory and a completely different, persona. But, they decided against going with Chuckles. Although, he may have been called Chuckles because maybe he was supposed to have a laugh like the Doctor, but I'm not entirely certain. Well, if that is everything, I think I'm going to end the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, hit that like, and if you have any questions, feel free to PM me, Rogue Goddess, on the official Dead by Daylight forum, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you might have concerning my videos or concerning future videos that I might do. Okay, so Ashley has another question. Do you think the Trapper could have just went insane? Okay, so basically here, Evan has pretty much had an abusive childhood. Clearly his father was abusive, clearly that's where his issues stem from. And there are several ways that an abused child can crack. Some abused children turn to drugs, some of them turn to violence, and some of them are so distraught that they actually start feeding off of the abuse that's being given to them. And I think that might be why Evan has stuck around his father for so long, and why he just didn't, he didn't leave, and he kept doing what his father told him to do. But also, despite this, okay, so clearly he would have been able to see that his father was going, that his father's mind was slipping. Because whenever you talk to someone with Alzheimer's, even in the beginning stages, you can clearly tell that there is something that's not there with them. It starts off as like a memory issue. Just like, oh, I forgot where I put this. I forgot where I put that. Then the memory issue worsens. It's just a progression of getting worse and worse. So clearly he would have been able to tell that his father was, in fact, mentally no longer there. He would have been able to tell that his father, was weak. And most mentally abused children would take that, as, I can get free. I can leave here, this is it. But whenever you have, someone who has this complex of the weak shall not survive, they also would take the chance to, run away. So I really think that Evan was feeding off of this negativity. I think that he was feeding off of the fact that he could kill people. I think that a lot of that for him was his way of getting back at his father without actually getting back at him. And because whenever you're mentally abused, there's a lot of things that can happen that make you attached to your abuser. And if you're attached to your abuser, then you're not going to want to leave them. So I guess, in short, to answer, did he go insane? Yes, but he had been insane for a very long time. And it all stemmed from how he was treated as a child. And this really goes a lot into the nature versus nurture debate. Do you have any other questions for me? Or shall I end this video? I'm leaving it up to you, the watcher. Alright, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. I really look forward to my next killer. I'm going to be doing it on Friday of next week. So if you want to pick the killer, just go ahead and leave me a comment as to who you think I should do next. Otherwise, I am going to be doing Bing Bong, and I really look forward to that as well. Thank you, and I will see you guys next time.